Alright, so this part of training my tree monitors is going to take place 2 days later, and I put up here a screenshot. You can see at the bottom there, February 24th. That was the day that we were looking at last time, which was the initial interaction, first time with these guys. And then you can see above that, those are all the videos we're going to be watching. 2 days later, what you're going to be seeing is 2 days after that initial interaction, and I'm going to be interacting with the other tree monitor just based solely on him watching me interact with Ajax. You will see Ajax later in this video watching. He did not engage with me this day. Uh, I'm assuming, I don't remember for sure, but I'm sure I was doing these same exercises with him the day before. I just probably didn't record it because at the time I was so freaked out with everything that was happening and I wasn't thinking about making tutorial videos. I probably started recording this day because it was so weird that Kale was trying to interact with me just based on watching Ajax. So this is 2 days after the last session we saw, which was first interaction, and this is going to be with Kale, the other tree monitor. And also looking at these dates now, I know for sure these guys are around 5 months old. Ajax, I know his clutch. I talked to the breeder. His clutch was he came out of his egg somewhere on 9/15 of last year. And so this is February 24th of this year. So it's just a little over 5 months. Now, again, I had not handled these guys prior to those last session videos. Uh, and the last month or two before that first interaction taking place, I had pretty much left them alone. Like I was only over at their enclosure tong feeding them and stuff, so they just got a lot of time. I was also off work at the time because there was some issue with contracting, so we were kind of laid off for like 2 months. So literally they saw me pretty much all day every day for at least like a month, and that's when I noticed all the staring yada 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 that I talked about before that led to me attempting the interaction to actually get something done, which happened on February 24th. So now we're on February 26th, and this is going to be Kale. Now, I don't know what order these are in. I didn't really try to sort that out, but you're going to see all the interactions are similar, and these are all the videos from that day. I'm trying to get through this as quick as possible because I'm just using Shadowplay to record me watching these videos and then uploading to YouTube because I'm trying not to have to edit shit. And that last one ended up being too long. I don't want this one to be too long. So this is Kale. And 2 days after that other one, Kale is now asking me to interact with him by coming down to the bottom of the cage here and like coming up to the windows and staring at me. So prior to this, these guys really didn't come down to the bottom of the enclosure. Like these guys like to stay up top. But the day before, I was coming up here, putting my hand down here at the bottom, and Ajax would come down and interact with my hand. So this is Kale aping this behavior the very next day. That's how fucking smart these guys are. So my intentions on these interactions. So I thought, okay, uh, that first day went like super well. I'm fairly certain just repeating that same type of stuff, I can get these guys to jump on me pretty much whenever I want from the enclosure, right? So the way I was thinking that night in bed was like, okay, now I need to work on them getting comfortable with me moving around with them being on my arm and on my shoulder and stuff because my goal was always to get them out of the enclosure and into my living room and being comfortable. So what you're going to be see here is just really short exercises, letting them get on my hand and then lifting my hand so slowly up so that and angling it towards the enclosure so they can safely jump back into like a branch that's higher up. So that's what you're going to be seeing here. Uh, This was totally unprompted by me. Kale is doing this today based on watching me do it with Ajax yesterday. I'm sorry I don't have video of that. Again, I didn't think I'd be making tutorial videos, but this is Kale acting on his own volition, asking me to come to the enclosure and interact with him. So I'm just going to start him. So he was obviously staring at me from down there. So I'd come, I'd sit down. You see, he moves closer immediately. I just put my hand in. Oh, I even had the door open at this point, so this isn't the first one. But it doesn't matter. They're all going to be similar. I'd just put the hand in. He'd climb on. Slowly raise. You can see he already doesn't like it, so he jumps off. It's fine. Again, remember what I told you before. Whenever they like jump off you, you don't want to be moving. Especially his tail was still touching me, so I did not want to recoil my hand. This is definitely not the first one because now I'm trying to get crazy with like, hey, jump on my hand and then jump up to this other hand. So this is me escalating because this is probably midway through the videos, but you'll see they're all pretty similar. See, raise it up slowly, and I'm wanting him to jump back into the enclosure because again, all I want to do is I want them getting used to me moving because the ultimate goal is later down the line being able to, get them out of the enclosure with ease, which I would use the last session's videos to practice, which I'm not going to show you again because I'm sure I'd do that later. But just everything you see in these videos, you want to continuously be maintaining with these guys. So here he is again. He's at the door, and if you see here, my tree monitors, they are so crazy about the door making any type of noise, any type of vibration in the enclosure. They've always been crazy about it. I see people on YouTube all the time with their animals. Their tracks are full of dirt, makes all kinds of crazy noises and they just swing their doors open and their animals are fine. To this day, my animals, with how social they are still terrified of this door making any noise or vibrating the cage or the enclosure in any way. So I have to be super careful, keep my tracks well maintained and clean. So I envy you guys. But you saw how he did a little jump there when the door was being opened. Open it slowly. I'm trying to make this as, you know, stress free as possible for him. Slow movements. He's trying to run up my arm. I don't want to go there yet with him because I'm just trying to get him comfortable with the movement. So I'm constantly moving forward to let him have a way back into the cage or the enclosure. You see by his tail, very straight tail, not a lot of spiraling. Like he's into this. Tongue's flicking. He's alert. And it's crazy when you think this is just 2 days after he first saw me interacting with Ajax. And he did see me doing this with Ajax the day before this. But this is all unprompted by me. This is him making this overt, request for me to come and sit by the door and interact with him. Because again, he comes down to the bottom and he sits on that little perch, just staring at me. And you can see me smiling my ass off. By this time, I know I'm on to something with these guys, and I know that things are gonna get fucking crazy down the line, and I'm just ecstatic. Pay attention to these moments when he jumps off of me. They always look back, and again, I want to remind you to always just remain stoic. They always want to look back to see where they came from to make sure everything is still okay. See it here. It's looking back. Everything's chill. And again, every time there's a cut, that means that he either walked away or we were no longer interacting, and I went back down to sit down at my computer, which is 6 feet in front of them, and I waited for him to called me back by coming down to the glass, scratching, sitting on this perch and staring at me. You can see sometimes when he goes back in, he doesn't want it to end. See, here he is waiting for me at the glass. When I come, he's walking along the glass. Like, he is asking for this interaction. These guys are so social. They want to interact with you. Another thing about my tree monitors, I feed them first thing in the morning. None of this stuff has anything to do with food. All that stuff gets taken care of. I wait for them to go and bask. Even to this day, before they come out of the enclosure, they get fed. Uh, I let them bask for a while because I don't want them having undigested food in their tummies. And then they only come out when they start asking me for some type of interaction, coming up to the glass, scratching. So this is going to be later in the day. You can hear that water running. That's probably because I'm going to give them a bath in what's it called, electrolyte water. And I'm probably thinking about doing that because I'm realizing, oh, this is a perfect time because these little guys will just climb on me. I don't have to grab them or anything. It's going to be a quick in and out bathing. But again, all this is just repetition, letting him realize that, okay, it's safe on my arm, but it's going to move and you got to get used to it. He wants to escalate this farther than I do today. And see again there? Watch your glass. Again, I'm sitting way too far to the right for this because, I was trying to make the video to where I could see the activity in the video. When you do this, make sure you're center and they have a way back into the cage without the glass being in the way. But you can see this is the next video and he's fine. He still wants to interact. He's still coming down, calling me back. In a little bit, you're going to see Ajax up at the top watching, but I have no videos, so I doubt Ajax wanted to interact with me this day. I'm sure the last 2 days it's taken some type of stress toll for him to continuously make these interactions. See, there's Ajax up there. You can see him. He's just watching. And see, he hates the door opening too. It's crazy the way my guys just hate any type of door movement or sound with the door. And see, I'm just down here, still just working with Kale. Ajax isn't even watching. He wants nothing to do with it. It's fine. Again, it's this, everything in this is going to be them asking for it. So here he fell out. So again, when something like that happens, you don't want to do what I did and try to reach for him. What you want to do is probably get up, walk away, get down, and come at him low. And I know this because this is how I did it later on during like roaming issues. I would get down, come to them low, and then I would just like slide my hand over to them, and they'd take it because they're in an unfamiliar environment. They somewhat think that you're safe at this point. They'd rather deal with the fear of climbing on you than dealing with whatever may be lurking out there in your living room. And then, of course, over time, they no longer are afraid of you at all. But again, this is just an easy repetition over and over. Just getting them used to, okay, my arm's gonna move when you're on it. So we have one final clip. At the end of the day, I decided to see if I could actually ask him to come down and interact with me. So this video is going to have sound, and I'm just going to let it play. I'm going to see if it will come to me.
Look at that.
And so that's the last video. But you can see, even after falling out of the enclosure and getting spooked, he was still down to interact with me that day. So basically, everything throughout this series is going to be repetition, behavioral repetition. And you want to get in as much reps as possible, and you want those reps to be successful, good encounter reps. So you basically want to think of your bond with this animal as like a bag of previous encounters. And every successful good encounter you have with them, it's going to give you a point in that bag, and it's going to fill up that bag of different moments that he can recall the next time that he's interacting with you. And every negative interaction is going to take out of that bag. So you always want to be maximizing your successful encounters with them, and you want to minimize your mistakes or your bad encounters with them. You always want to have a net positive in that bag. And in the beginning, as you have success, you're going to want to drag these encounters out because you're like, oh, it's working, it's working, it's working. But you want to keep them short and successful, because say you're having such a great encounter with them over a long period of time, and then something bad happens. Well, now that's a net negative. Like, that encounter is now a bad encounter. So you want to get reps in. You want to get short reps of uh, very short encounters with them where everything goes perfectly and it's successful, and then you want to close that session out, and then you want to come back later when they ask again and do another clean session. Because as you drag these out, it's going to increase the chances that something wrong is going to happen, and now that encounter is just a bad encounter. And I'll talk more about this later on as this series goes on. And I know this is pretty boring video. The next ones are going to get better and better because it's going to start involving them coming out of the enclosure and onto me a lot more. So I'm going to end this here, and the next video should be coming really soon because I'm already working on it.